If you want one of the best headlight upgrades for your Chevy Silverado HD, this video is for you. If your Chevy Silverado has the halogen headlights, you already know that they're a terrible color and they're not very bright when you're driving down the road. It's a halogen bulb in the low beam and the high beam, and there's an incandescent turn signal with a slow on, slow off feature. This headlight is the last thing you want on a 2020 up Chevy Silverado. That's where the XB hybrids really come into play. They have an LED projector for low beam and a dedicated LED projector for high beam. Even though this is the Morimoto XB hybrid and there is an XB LED, which is the model above the hybrid, it still has that beautiful DRL, that daytime running light, all the way around the headlights. You're gonna see that on a lot of new vehicles today. One of the major differences between the XB hybrid and the Morimoto XB LED is that you reuse your incandescent turn signal from your original lights. I'll show you how to do that in just a second, but really it's simple. You're pulling out the old bulb and you're putting it in the Morimoto XB headlight. The inside of the XB hybrid has this dark gray color. It's going to match all sorts of Chevy Silverados. Now I know what you're thinking. How much brighter are they compared to your original headlights? Let's get to that now. The way we test a headlight is with a digital lux meter. We back the truck up about 25 feet from our wall. We then use that lux meter to measure the actual usable brightness at a certain point. We do it for the stock headlights, and then we do it for the Morimoto XB headlights. When looking at the numbers of the maximum lux, don't pay too much attention to what they say. Pay attention to the percent change. If this truck was a foot closer to the wall or a foot further from the wall, the number will change drastically. So these numbers only make sense in this specific test. Now your original halogen headlights are not bright at all. They come in at 420 maximum lux, which is terrible. It's almost laughable. It's also not a wide driving beam pattern, so you're not gonna see into the ditches when you're driving down the road at night. The Morimoto XB Low Beam comes in at 880 maximum lux. That's a 109% change. The color of the XB hybrid is a much more modern color. It's much wider and the beam pattern is super tight, placed down the road exactly where you need it to keep you safer at night. On high beam, your original headlights come in at 1060 maximum lux, which isn't terrible as far as brightness goes, but it's still that ugly color and it's not wide. The Morimoto XB hybrid for the Silverado comes in at a staggering 2420 maximum lux. This is literally the brightest high beam I've seen in an aftermarket headlight for this truck. The placement of that high beam is exactly where you want it. It's going to put the light down the road so you can see much further into the distance. These lights are also adjustable so you can really dial in where you'd like to put that high beam punch. Now that you decided the Morimoto headlights are right for your Chevy Silverado, let's get to the install. These are the tools you're gonna need for this install. You're gonna need a Phillips screwdriver to adjust the headlights once they're installed, a flathead screwdriver, an assortment of pry tools. You're also gonna need a T15 Torx and a T20 Torx bit. You'll also need a needle nose pliers, a 10mm socket, a 7mm socket, a T15, and a ratchet of your choice. Now that you know what tools you need, let's go ahead and pop the hood. With the hood open, what we're going to do is remove this top plastic piece first. There's 9 push tabs. Go grab a pry tool and remove those. Starting on one side and working your way over. Go ahead and push your pry tool in, pop the middle up, and pop that out just like that. 6 out of the 9 push tabs are on the back side of this plastic. Go ahead and remove those, starting on one side. Now before we can remove this black plastic trim, we have to go ahead and remove the hood latch. Go ahead and take a T15 Torx and come up here. There's 2 screws here. Just go ahead and remove them by turning them counterclockwise. Now go ahead and just pull it towards you. Now you can go ahead and take this plastic piece and pull it up and set it aside. Now go ahead and take a ratchet and a 10mm socket. We're gonna go ahead and remove these 4 screws right here. Starting on one side, working your way over. Now what we have to do is go ahead and make our way to the fender well. We're gonna have to pull the fender liner back a little bit, remove a couple of bolts so that way we can remove this face on the front. So we're at the driver's side now, and we have to take your T15 Torx bit. What we're gonna do is remove 6 T15 Torx bolts out of here, and then what we're gonna do is remove 1 push tab. That's gonna allow us to take the fender liner and pull it back. Now there is one push tab right here in the center on the top of this fender well. Let's go ahead and remove that with your pry tool. Now you can go ahead and pull this fender liner back. Give yourself some room. Now that should be enough room because all we gotta do is pull this plastic trim out a little bit. You'll notice on the back side of this plastic trim that there's a couple of clips. And if you use an 8mm socket and you put it over those clips, it'll pinch all sides that you need to pull this out. Go ahead and take your socket and just give it a push. You'll hear a click. That'll pull it out just like that. Now you don't have to remove this trim all the way. Just pull it back to about here. With this trim loosened up like this, you can pull it back just enough to see this 7mm bolt. Go ahead and take your 7mm socket and remove that bolt. Now follow all of these steps on the passenger side, and then we're gonna go ahead and remove these plastic pieces up here. So I've just done the passenger side. Now what we're gonna go ahead and do is remove this plastic panel. To do that, go over to the side. We're going to pry it outwards very carefully. I'm gonna come back to the front and the top one here. There's a little rubber piece on the bottom of here, just keep that in mind. You might have to pull it down a little bit to remove them. Do the same thing on the other side now. Now go ahead and grab your 10mm socket because we've got 2 more bolts holding on this front grille. We got them down here at the bottom on each side. Now it's just held in by a couple clips. Grab yourself a flathead screwdriver and then also work your way from one end moving over by just prying up on this grill. Do the same thing on this side, pull up. There you are. Now there's 2 clips in the center. To remove them, use your flathead screwdriver, reach down here and pull it away. The other push tab, you can't reach your screwdriver in, just give it a yank. Just like that, and it'll come free. Now go ahead and pry the sides from the push tabs, and then the grill's free to come out. Once your grill is free, go ahead and pull it towards you and set it off to the side. Now, if your Silverado's trim level had a camera on the grill, go ahead and unplug that so you can remove the grill properly. Once you're done, we're gonna go ahead and remove these headlights. There are 6 10mm bolts holding it on. 2 on the inside, 2 on the outside, and 2 on the top. Let's do that now. Now the only thing holding this in is this little tab. We're just gonna pull up on it. You can use a pry tool for that. Carefully pull it out towards you and unplug it. Push the top, pull it out, and set the headlight to the side. Do the same thing on the passenger side. Now don't throw away your stock headlights yet. We have 2 brackets to remove from that headlight and put them onto your Morimoto headlight. But now what we're gonna do before we do that is run the DRL harness, the daytime running light harness. This is gonna allow the daytime running light to actually work and function properly. This right here is the fuse tap, and this is gonna go into the fuse box. I'm gonna show you exactly where to put it in just a second. There's 2 other connections right here, a longer wire and a shorter wire. Since your fuse box is on the driver's side, the shorter wire is gonna be routed down into the headlight area. The longer wire is gonna be ran across the radiator, and we're gonna bring it down here to the passenger side headlight. The fuse slot we're going to be putting the Morimoto fuse tap into is fuse number 40. As you can see here, there's a 10 amp fuse. I'm going to go ahead and take a needle nose pliers and remove it. Now take that fuse tap, include it in your kit, and push it in place. Run the cord to the side and put the lid back on. Now, like I said, there's a longer wire and a shorter wire. Run the shorter wire to the headlight area on the driver's side. All right, there it comes. Now, I'm just going to leave this sit right here. I don't need to pull it out all the way. Go ahead and run the long wire now. And we could tidy up all of this wiring in a little bit. I just want to get it ran for now. All right, we're just going to run it down here to the passenger side area. Don't have to pull it all the way. Right here works perfectly. Now, meet me at the table because we're going to remove those brackets from the original headlights and put them on the XB headlights. Now, to get your Morimoto XB Hybrid installed in your vehicle, you first have to transfer over a couple of different brackets. The first one is right here. There's 4 screws holding 2 different plastic brackets on. Go ahead and remove those with a T15 Torx. Start on the top one and remove it. Both screws are off. Go ahead and transfer this over to the XB. Line it up, set it down, and screw it down. Now I am using hand tools. Do not use the drill, the ratchet. You don't want to do that because you are dealing with plastic. You don't want to strip it out and you don't want to ruin your new headlights. Go ahead and do the other one. All right, now you're almost done. You have one more bracket right on the bottom of your stock headlight. Go ahead and remove it. You got 2 screws in there using the same T15 Torx. And you pull it straight forward and grab your XB headlight and replace it. So the driver's side headlight is now complete. Do the exact same thing on the passenger side headlight and then meet me back at the truck so we can plug this thing in. Now that we got all the brackets transferred over, let's go ahead and get this in the vehicle. One other thing I didn't show you is that you do have to reuse your original turn signal bulb. That's right up top here, and all you gotta do is turn this counterclockwise, grab your original incandescent turn signal and slap it in. At Headlight Revolution, we do a lot of testing and we find the best turn signal bulbs too. So if you want an LED turn signal bulb instead of this incandescent bulb, you can definitely go type in your year, make, and model at headlightrevolution.com and we'll be able to show you what bulb fits. Now let's go ahead and connect this. Push it in, turn it clockwise, let's install the headlight. Find that one wire here, plug her in, make sure you hear it click, and then also push this red tab down. Now go ahead and find that DRL harness, the one that you had originally ran, and plug it into the other connector right here. Once those two are connected, go ahead and push it in. All right, so this headlight is set. Do the exact same thing on the passenger side headlight. Once that's done, go and grab a friend, have them go inside and hit the headlights on. Make sure all of the functions work. If so, go ahead and put in all of the bolts and you're good to go. Don't forget to zip tie up that DRL as well. Now, before you go out on the roads and enjoy these headlights, be sure to align them. You can align them with a Phillips screwdriver. If you have questions on how to align them, we made an entire video on just that where Chris goes in depth and shows you exactly how to align a headlight properly. Now, as you can see, it's actually really easy to install the XB Hybrid headlights. They're extremely bright. They look really good on the Chevy Silverado. They are one of the best because we've tested a ton of different headlight housings for this truck. If you want something with a little more punch in the low beam, check out the Morimoto XB LED. This is the top of the line headlight housing from Morimoto. If you want to see what else we have to offer for your Chevy Silverado, go to headlightrevolution.com, type in your year, make, and model, and you'll see everything there.